Nashville as Alabama goes down to Vanderbilt. Wow, not a result that we saw coming.
No.
Welcome in to the College Football Show presented by AT&T alongside Matt Sims, Skubie Mageza. I'm Sam Ravech. Great to have you along with us. We will talk, of course, about this Alabama game because, Scoob, Vanderbilt was 0-60 all-time against AP top 5 teams. They are now 1-60.
Kalen DeBoer,
You enjoy that
all
too
week, had rat traps around the facility to remind his players not to fall for the hype, not to hop on their high horse and go into a place in Vanderbilt where they're still having construction on that field, in that stadium, where it's only 28,000 people. That is the least amount of fans that Alabama has played in front of since, give me a second, 1963. Non-COVID crowd, mind you. So it was low energy. You go in there coming off of a big win. And I heard Nick Saban today on game day said it is harder to coach your team after a huge win than it is to coach your team after a huge loss.
What a scene
Look
there.
at that.
What a
That
scene.
is a great look right there.
Hey, I mean, look, give credit where credit is due. Vanderbilt came out here and they played well.
They did. They did. And really, it is so typical, right? I mean, everything that it took to win the game a week ago.
Sure.
And just to be reminded again that just on any given Sunday, on a Saturday, you can go down because Vanderbilt really, honestly, from the start was the better looking team. It seemed like the more prepared team, the more aware football team that was playing harder more consistently. And there was just like a few different plays too, like even the simple shovel pass that they kept having Stower on, right, over and over. Diego Pavia, like his toughness, his resiliency to play, just like it seemed with his heart on his sleeve every single time. 16-20 for 252 and 2 touchdowns. The one where he threw it across his body while he was being absolutely sandwiched between 3 different Alabama defenders.
Sure.
You know, the play of the game in a lot of ways, but overall, just lackluster performance by Alabama. They tried to hype themselves, I feel like, post-halftime.
Yeah.
They came out a little chippy. They started talking a little crap, all that kind of stuff. But a little too much too late, right, for that group to get back in the football game.
Where it stands out when you look at the box score is one simple place, fellas. Time of possession.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt, 42 minutes and 8 seconds. Alabama, 17 minutes and 52 seconds. They dominated the football game from that aspect. And Alabama, this is something that has plagued them all season long. That is penalties. They came into the game 96 nationally in total penalties and 104th in penalty yards. And that is something that has plagued them from last season coming into this season. We saw it in the South Florida game. They cleaned it up a little bit the last 2 weeks, and then you come into this game once again a little bit quiet, and they go against a team that definitely was more prepared to play them. But
no doubt.
This is our chance now to get the highlight because, hey, listen up to everybody in the YouTube chat. We just got it, and we're about to read it for you. Vanderbilt, Alabama. First quarter, Vanderbilt up 7-0. Jalen Milroe throws the pick 6. This is his first pick 6 of the season. Second, one of 2 turnovers he had on the day.
It was just incredible, too. It was back and forth the entire game. The biggest difference in the game, I think, as you see Milroe run in there, was also on third down. At one point, Vanderbilt was like 9 of 13 on third down, and Alabama had been the best third down stopper in the entire country. That's
This was huge right there by that. That was a fantastic adjustment to the throw right there. Unbelievable play. And just a little quick shout out to Fontenette too, who he is the one that caught that pick 6 and ran it back for the touchdown. This play though,
silly.
I mean, it's unbelievable how talented Ryan Williams is. I mean, what he just did on the sideline there, the body control. Jalen Milroe, front side, right? I mean, it collapses on him. He doesn't see the pass rush there, right? Strip sack, fumble. They recover. They get the football back. Pavia doing what he does best, and that is just making plays.
On plays.
Unbelievable. And you're right, just the toughness, the energy that he played with.
And Bama had to respond here. So you're down 12 points. You hoped you could hold them to a field goal. But something kept telling you that they could come back. And Sam, this was a huge play by Milroe as they get into the end zone here on 4th and 1. Check out the reverse
and who's
to
it
Ryan
go to
Williams.
again?
Of course.
Exactly.
He's the first Alabama wide receiver with the receiving touchdown and a rushing touchdown in the same game since Devontae Smith in 2020. But here comes Vanderbilt converting on a 2nd and 12. And this is really where you start to feel that pressure.
Beautiful throw right there, too. Being hit, drops his arm angle, throws a little sidearm right there. Accurate, able to catch it and get up the field for the first down. It just really a great team effort. And really the biggest thing that I think to take away from this, too, is just that, like, Alabama's defense. I think we got a good response from Alabama's offense throughout the football game, even though they started slow. But Alabama's defense consistently giving up easy yards.
Yeah, and the MVP in this game was Pavia. 16 for 20, 252 yards, 2 touchdowns. And here he is after the game.
Diego, you just beat the #1 team in the country. What's going through your mind right now?
It's literally all God's timing. Literally from the jump. God gave me a vision when I was a little kid, and he don't let that, and he promises it's God's time. Like, I'm super thankful for guys like Eli Stowers. Man, that kid's incredible. For the rest of our team, look at this. Look at this. Daddy, we're hurt.
Diego, what were you saying to your team to finish this game?
Shit. Games like this change your life, you know what I mean? It's all about hype nowadays, and I don't like it like that, but it's the reality of NAL and all that stuff. But I just stay grounded, be where my feet are, and every single day tomorrow I gotta work on Kentucky.
You had 70 family members here. What did it mean to do this in front of them?
Where they at? Where they at? Where's the family at? Where's the family at? Come on!
Absolute goosebumps.
70 family members at the game?
Yeah.
That is, I mean, good for you, man.
Incredible.
Hey, I don't even have 70 friends.
Quick shout out to everybody in the YouTube chat right now throughout the show. I'll be kind of scrolling through the conversations that you guys are having in there. And one of the things somebody just said in there, moment of the year probably. But then I see another one, and this is from 3Pete. He said, Bama fans, enjoy sitting out the first 12-team playoffs.
Ooh, easy,
little bit like an overreaction to me. But what is your reaction when you hear a fan say that who loves to relish in the moment of this loss?
Yeah, I mean, of course. Come on, we should all just team up and just roll tide in this situation. But I think that they'll be able to bounce back. Again, my concern is the defensive side of the football. I mean, this is where, it's not like Vanderbilt's like a powerhouse on the offensive side of the football that just moves the football at will on some of these teams that they play against. They are scrappy. They are tough. There's no doubt about that. But the biggest issue is the slow start by the offense and the lack of production by the defense to get off the field consistently, I think, is the biggest thing. The time of possession, like you said. And you know what time of possession means? You're on the field a lot defensively.
Yeah.
You get worn out. A lot of easy completions, a lot of broken down plays, broken down coverages. So those things are really, concerning, especially when you knew you had to be aware of this trap game situation.
Hey, great point in our chat from Sneed Productions. He said, daily reminder that the Tide still have to go to the current #4 team in the nation in a Saturday night game in prime time in front of 110,000 college football fans.
Well, they'll be ready for that one.
Exactly.
They'll be ready for that one.
There's 5 times more fans than there were today,
Well,
right?
field goals were going into the river the last time that that game was being played there. But I think it raises a larger question. And this Alabama game that we saw today, the issues that they had felt a lot like the issues that they had last year when they couldn't protect Jalen Milroe enough.
Yep.
They had the penalties. That was a problem. But I keep going back to this. And Pavia, credit to him, an 80% completion rate in this game. It was the highest completion percentage in a game against Alabama since Steven Garcia in 2010.
And they won that game too,
Yeah.
South Carolina. I remember that football game.
Right.
And 12 of 18 on third down for Vanderbilt. You can't win football games when the other team is converting 12 out of how many again? 18. 12 of 18 on third down. Come on. That is unbelievable, that stat line right there. And really, it just goes down to Alabama. I don't know if they really have that sure-handed pass rusher that we're always used to them having, where they're just collapsing the pocket consistently. But Pavia also kind of matches the Steven Garcias, the Johnny Manziel, the Chad Kelly types of the world that they play in such a free, wild style where it's hey, the play design didn't work, and I'm just going to make something happen. And for whatever reason, they seem to struggle against that type of quarterback.
Yes.
Right? The old traditional pocket passer, no problem. But the guys who are just like, yeah, hey, we're just playing ball. And we're going to do it.
Like
we're going to make
Johnny,
it happen.
yep.
And just like Pavia said, like his idol,
Johnny Manziel.
the Deuce Man, Johnny.
Yeah.
And that post-game interview saw a lot of Johnny Manziel vibes there, you know, so.
He going to party like it's Johnny Manziel, Texas
I don't know,
A&M
man.
tonight.
Yeah. We don't want to say that. I watched the documentary. Hopefully not too much.
Not like that. Not like that.
Yeah. But still.
Come on, man.
There's absolutely going to be a party on Broadway tonight in Nashville. It was an incredible
great
atmosphere.
game.
Yeah.
Great game.
No,
well earned. Awesome win for the program.
No doubt about it. And we're going to have some more conversation about the SEC and the implications of this game for Alabama because, like you guys at home, everybody is still digesting what we just saw there in Nashville. Let's check out what went down between the hedges down there in the Deep South's oldest rivalry. Been a while, guys, since we have said, let's see how Georgia looks after a loss in the regular season.
Yeah.
Got to go back to 2020, the last time that has happened. But again, slow starts for Georgia in 4 of their 5 games, including this one. You see Etienne, who had his first rushing touchdown last week, add another one here.
Yeah.
Carson Beck looked good in this game, but
nice bounce back. But it was a slow start for Georgia in this game. As you see, it was 7-3. This touchdown ended up being huge. And Auburn always plays them tough, too.
Dogs led this game 14-3 at the half.
Yep.
And another thing, coming into this game, on the defensive side, a huge rip down the right side.
Jarquez Hunter, man, had
Hunter,
a phenomenal game. You know, 13 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown.
Ridiculous. But on the defensive side, Georgia just has not been disruptive enough this season. They ranked 96 nationally with just 2 interceptions, 4 takeaways total.
Yep.
And Peyton Thorne looks comfortable a little bit in this game for a guy that got benched a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and I thought that he would be turnover prone in this game, but that wasn't necessarily the case. Played some good football, but Carson Beck, it seems like as the game goes along, he gets better.
For sure.
And that's what we saw, too.
I think we're establishing, too, that, like, you know, in the past, Georgia, a little bit more of a run-first, pass-second type of football team. And this year, it's the opposite. It's pass-first. And it's good to see guys like Lovett and Bell get involved in a little bit more. You saw the early play-action pass there early in the football game, too. Hit the big one over the middle. So it goes through Carson Beck. You really have to empower this quarterback. And get comfortable, Kirby. I know you probably don't want to throw the ball 40 times a game, but that might be your best recipe for success going forward is your star quarterback being the guy, right? And honestly, empowering him, saying, hey, man, I don't care if you make a mistake here or there, because really the strength of this defense, oddly enough, right, we always talk about how great the defensive line is. But this year, it's Malachi Starks, it's Dan Jackson, it's Jalen Walker, it's C.J. Allen. It's the second and third alignment of this defense, the linebacking crew and the secondary, that is the strength. So they're going to give up yards. The biggest thing, can they make those opportunistic stops when they need to?
I just go on just the feel of Georgia on a defense, right? In years past, you're not getting points off that defense.
Right.
It doesn't feel like they have that invincibility this year.
It's clearly not that way either. We saw that against Alabama. They struggled. Now, second half, totally different game for them defensively.
Right.
But just, the strength of this team is not in the defense. They don't have the size that they once had, right? The size that blocked the middle and made sure, hey, we're not going to get pushed around physically at all. This team, you saw there were some good runs. Hunter did a really good job of breaking through and getting to that second and third level of this defense pretty consistently. And I think if they just played a little bit better offensively and Payne Thorne made a few better decisions in the game, they could have made this even a tougher game for Georgia to pull out and win.
Real quick, last one. Hugh Freeze is going to have some really difficult questions to answer, maybe even year 3. I mean, we talk about hot seats, but he's 8-12, midway through his second year. And they just have not figured it out there on the Plains. So that's something else to keep an eye on. But the quarterback issues for Auburn have been.
I know, but also in the SEC, it's like, only one team's going to win the championship in the SEC every year.
Sure.
And like the truth is like there's a lot of really good coaches in the SEC, and there's a few great coaches. And I think we're going to figure out who they are.
Coaching definitely matters.
You know me, man.
That's what he's always saying. And another coach that we were keeping an eye on is Lane Kiffin, because after their loss against Kentucky last week, well, let's see how they're going to do against South Carolina. It was their first time they played in Columbia since 2009. The Gamecocks upset the 4th-ranked Rebels 16-10 at that time. Can they do it again? Who knows? So let's start off in the first quarter. Both teams scoreless, and it's 4th and 1 for South Carolina, and they're punting. But wait, It's
Whoa,
a fake
whoa.
from their own 36, and Maurice Brown gets stuffed like a turkey on Thanksgiving.
Why? You have a good defense. Punt it.
Next possession, Jackson darts. Caden Lee, that's for 20 yards.
Wide open.
So now they're driving. A few plays later, it's 1st and goal. Henry Parrish Jr. makes reservation for 6.
He was questionable today. Good to see him in there.
Yeah, definitely important for this
7-0
team.
Rebels there. Next South Carolina possession, Robbie Ashford. Oh, no. Hell no, boy. Y'all done up and done it. Fumble. Ole Miss recovers. This was costly. Ole Miss still up 7-0 because next possession, it would be a thick 6. J.J. Pegues.
Yes.
13-0. Second quarter, Ole Miss leads 17-3. Dart throws it up to Jordan Watkins. Excuse me. He gets down for a 41-yard gain. Next play, 1st and goal. We saw this move already. J.J. Pegues, second touchdown of the game. Man, that boy is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
Not sure what that means.
All right, so
24-3 the final.
there was this was the only ranked-on-ranked matchup today between Texas A&M and Missouri. First drive here for A&M. Amari Daniels, leading rusher from last year, takes the handoff here, gets down to the 1-yard line. He would punch it in. Couple plays later, Aggies go up 7-0. Missouri ball down 10 now. Brady Cook finding Luther Burden, and it looks like he's going to walk it in for the touchdown, but it's called back, illegal. Man downfield. Burden not happy. Not happy. Questionable call, questionable body language from Luther Burden and pretty much this whole Missouri team all game long. You see him there on the bench.
Head up, bro. Come on, man. You're the leader of the team.
He was on game day today. He was all confident. 2 minutes left in the first. Connor Weigman finding Lavian Moss 17 yards for the A&M first down.
He's playing tough.
This was the Moss and Daniels show. What A&M did on the ground today was incredibly impressive. Here's Daniels taking the handoff in for a second touchdown of the day. Aggies lead it 17-0. Missouri has no answer for this Aggie run game. Second quarter now. Weigman going deep. Here's Ja'Day Walker making a really nice grab.
Love to see this from number 9. Great job, right? He wins on the route. He probably would have scored if it was thrown in rhythm right there, but did a good job of going through the defender, fighting for the football, and getting the explosive catch.
All right, Moss taking, this is Weigman here, scrambling a bit.
And he's showing his ability to run the ball here.
Yes.
Very underestimated.
5 carries for 33 yards from him today, so that was good job of just making some plays with his feet.
All right, so Texas A&M would continue to roll in this game, and you could call it an upset because of the ranking here, but Texas A&M was actually favored by 2.5 points in this game. And Moss 3 touchdowns on the ground. Daniels had 2. We heard from Coach Elko about his quarterback, and he stuck up for him after the game.
You can challenge Connor for how he plays, and you can be upset about Connor for how he throws a football. Some of the stuff that has been said about this kid and written about this kid, not by you guys have been great, is embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing, the stuff that gets out there on this kid. This kid's a winner. He's a competitor. He does everything that he needs to do for Texas A&M football, and there's a lot of people right now that need to stand up and recognize what they've said over the last 3 weeks and take some ownership in it.
All right, so coming into this one, guys, we had some questions. I know you're clapping your hands there.
That away, coach.
You love a coach getting behind a player.
That away.
We had questions on both sides, and it just felt like neither of these teams had really reached their potential or reached their ceiling yet.
Yeah.
I think we learned a couple of things after this game. The ceiling for Texas A&M probably going to be a little bit higher than Missouri's ceiling this year, Matty.
I am really impressed with Texas.
You're high on Texas A&M.
You know that I've week by week, I'm like, hey, Texas A&M, Texas A&M. And, the reason why I like what I see from them, they were able to endure backup quarterback, being the starter, freshman, all that, made enough plays offensively, really big on the offensive line, athletic offensive line, really big and athletic on the defensive line. And in the SEC, that's what really matters. Well coached. Mike Elko, this guy knows what he is doing, man. I mean, he has got the pulse of this football team. You could see that from the other coaches they've had in the past, won't name names, compared to now.
Yeah.
Same roster, right? A lot of guys.
A lot of
same
talent.
guys.
Yeah. Talented,
but man, one goal, one mind. You could tell it. You could see it on the field. And, it goes to this too, right? Scoring, Regis, Stewart. I mean, the defensive line. 6 sacks, 8 tackles for a loss. The physicality that they play in the defensive front is legit, and that helps the secondary play that much faster and really just be all over this Missouri offense today. So I was extremely impressed with how they looked defensively that way.
Yeah, we're at that point right now in the SEC where these one-loss teams are all solid teams and still potential playoff teams as well as we look ahead. Now, I just want to go back to that Missouri aspect of this whole conversation. And for me, coming into this game, I'm like, okay, this is our chance to finally see Missouri's offense pop out and show out. You know what I mean? This is your chance to show us who you are, kick it into fourth gear. You have on paper the best QB and wide receiver tandem in Brady Cook and Luther Burden. And then here comes a game in a hostile environment. You're going to have to battle against some adversity. Yes, your first possession, that pass interference call that they called back was questionable. Yes, that touchdown you threw to Luther Burden, that call of the lineman down the field was questionable. But the body language on the sideline was negative. You see it here. You cannot have that as the leader of the team where everyone's looking at you like, okay, we're down right now. Let me look at our best player and see what his body language and energy is. And if you're sitting there like this, you know what I'm going to be thinking? Oh, we're screwed.
And hey,
we don't have it this game.
The two plays, like I get it. All right, not every call is going to go your way. No. Football is extremely unforgiving in that way. But you got outplayed all the other 70 plays that were out there. And that's the truth. You got outcoached too. And we've kind of seen this from Missouri and their other games as well. Like even BC. BC outcoached them in a lot of ways, Boston College. So it's like, it's a little bit of a theme with them right now. They don't play great team defense. Right, they don't really get after the passer consistently. Connor Weigman had all day to throw today. Guys were open all over on the field for them, running the football consistently against this defense too. And yet, it just takes too much effort, I feel like, right now for Missouri to get their playmakers the football consistently. So there's a lot of things that are not trending in the right direction for Missouri, whereas in Texas A&M, to me, they remind me of the Clemson of the SEC. Ooh. We kind of threw them away early on. Okay.
After the Notre Dame loss,
I'm not really sure, if we were judging them too soon. I think this team really can be, a pain for some other teams down the line.
I'll say this, and I say it a lot, guys. I'm a vibes guy. I'm all about the vibes.
You're all about the vibes, too.
All about the vibes right now, they're a little questionable for Missouri. Yeah. The vibes on the sideline, the vibes on the field, they're just not doing it for me. So that is a level of concern for me.
For sure.
Here's just a quick stat about Missouri and the production from last year to this year. Last year, at this time in the season, they ranked 17th in the country in explosive pass plays.
Right.
This year, in the same category, they rank 102nd. Oof. So the explosiveness that they had last year has not been here this year. I would also, too, on the A&M front, Colin Klein is a difference maker on offense, too, right?
Great call.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about Mike Elko coming in, but his staff that he brought in with him.
For sure.
Also a huge game changer.
And Brady Cook, too, 13 of 31 today. And, why is that? Because the defense was getting after it, right? They were affecting the passer consistently, and that made a huge effect in this game.
Okay, so let's take a big picture here and look at the SEC now, because it has gotten shooken up thanks to the Alabama loss. So you got a couple of undefeateds there still. Texas on an idle week here, Tennessee as well. And they're down taking on Arkansas right now. Arkansas leading 3-0. I don't know what do we make of the SEC at this point in the season now, because it's so wild. You got Alabama and Georgia that have conference losses now.
The bottom 8, Alabama. Number 1 team in the country.
Another thing we're looking at right now is this Arkansas versus Tennessee game. It's live, obviously, as we're doing this show. And anything can happen on any given Saturday. Yeah. But as you look at it, it seems like Texas is in the driver's seat.
Certainly the two teams from Texas right there. Texas A&M and Texas, who, by the way, will play later on this season, right there at the top. But, man, I mean, you look at the SEC, and I think at the outset of the season, we all felt pretty confident about 3 teams, right? You could say Georgia, Texas, Alabama.
Right.
Even with that loss, I know we had people in the chat saying Alabama's not going to make the 12-team playoff. That's yet to be seen, but they're still going to be better than 50%.
A lot of people are hoping for that.
To make the playoffs, right. So, but things have changed, guys. Things have changed, and our opinions changed as we learn more about these teams. Is Texas the most trustworthy team in the SEC right now?
I guess from what we've seen so far, I mean, the big win in Michigan, you can say that. But until we kind of get more into the SEC play, I don't want to make any, judgment too soon with any of these football teams. And that graphic that we just showed to me is like very telling of like the reality of the SEC and its reality for the future. Teams are going to go down. They're going to lose. They're going to lose some random games. They're going to lose some games where it was close fought like Alabama, Georgia. And it's just the truth of just this conference. And I think even Texas, too, a week ago, you know, everyone got on me on the chat last week because I said, oh, they started slow. Well, it was 14-6 at half against Mississippi State.
Right.
You know, where Florida was moving the football up and down the field on them the week before. So it's very unpredictable. The matchups are huge. It's very, you know, again, it's week to week. We're talking about young men, right, that it's hard to stay focused and locked in for every single game, every single moment in the SEC. And I think this really is just a new reality for this league.
Yeah, and in the YouTube chat right now, someone just said this gives credibility to the strength of the SEC.
Yeah.
And sometimes we get ragged on as ESPN for talking about the SEC, and that's because it is real. Any single week, you can get beat in the SEC. I don't know if teams in the Big Ten are going to be able to survive the same way in the SEC. Same guy that mentioned the SEC said Ohio State would probably lose 4 games in the SEC. Sounds like a little bit too much, but I do agree that they wouldn't go through that conference as easily as they do in the Big Ten. But the reality of it as well this season is teams can lose games and your season isn't going to be over. Quite frankly, the reality of it is when you lose games, sometimes that helps calibrate your team. That helps get you right. And I always say that it is better to come off a loss that is demoralizing than it is to come off a win that is as high as ever. So for Alabama, and Nick Saban says this, for your team to lose, it might be the best thing for your group going forward. And as we see these key matchups coming up later on in the season.
A lot of A's on that screen, though. You know, so Alabama's got a lot of tough matchups coming up. And my question to you, right, is, all right, so Tier 1, Alabama, Georgia, Texas. Despite Alabama's loss, we're still going to keep them in Tier 1 for this. All right, but Tier 2, right, I have Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M. in Tier 2 of the SEC.
Tier 2.
Right?
So your Tier 1 is
Alabama, Georgia, Texas.
Okay.
All right.
And
Tier
then
2, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tier 3, LSU and Oklahoma.
There, yeah.
You know, I mean, any discrepancy? Like, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. And LSU might have a little bit of a gap towards Oklahoma. I still need to see more from LSU. That defense has shown chips in their armor
that
I would like to see improved. However, they have gotten better throughout the season. They've shown us flashes. It is a huge injury to see Perkins go down. How are they going to be able to adjust as a defense going forward?
Yeah.
But I think you're spot on with the Tier 1 and Tier 2.
What do you think, Sam? Really quick.
Yeah.
Would you take Texas A&M or Ole Miss right now?
Over Ole Miss,
and a head-to-head matchup, Texas A&M, Ole Miss. What do you think?
Gut tells me from what we saw today, I would take A&M.
Okay.
That's my gut.
I kind of feel that way, too. I feel like Texas A&M would really be able to match up well with them physically and also be able to cover on the back end, right, and play in one-on-one situations like that. So that's why I kind of make that assessment.
Yeah.
And just with one game with Connor Weigman, I know it was Missouri's defense, but team had a different vibe and a little bit more balanced run and pass, which I really like about that offense. So, you know, of course, a lot of football to be played, but Texas A&M really impressed me.
Yeah, they were one of the more impressive teams that we saw today. Ole Miss also bounced back with a win, but the SEC, right now, it's wide open. All right, time now for the playbook presented by Modelo. We go back to the touchscreen with our very own QB, Matt Sims. Matty, so there was only one ranked matchup in Week 6.
Yes, sir.
And it was in College Station, Texas A&M, Missouri. Question coming into this one, who was going to be the quarterback for the Aggies? Marcel Reed?
Yeah.
Or are they going to go with Connor Weigman?
Right.
Looks like they made the right choice.
Yeah, I think Elko made the right choice. He went with the veteran. Marcel Reed did his job, right? He was making sure that they kept winning while Weigman was out, but this offense looked really impressive today against the Missouri Tigers. We line up in a 3-by-1 formation. We have the X receiver right here in the boundary in a really tight split. So against this 3-deep look by Missouri, what do we get here by the corner? Outside leverage, right? And the reason why this is so important for this look, when we have outside leverage in this 3-deep area, right, we're going to get a fire zone. We're going to get a 7-man protection again, right, by this Texas A&M offensive line. So we're thinking, hey, we are going to take a shot here. We're going to protect our quarterback. This is something that was a theme all day. Great by the O-line. One in the pass game, one in the run game for sure. We get outside leverage on the outside. we run a double move. So we're attacking the outside, right, or pressing vertical, to this corner. We're going to get him going and then step, break out, make the corner commit to that out route, and then step that left foot back on the ground and get vertical again on the double move. And we're going to see again here from this point of view, great protection here. We got a little fire zone action right here. We got a 5-man pressure, and we're doing a great job of just muddying up that front side. Weigman, able to see that safety in the middle, does a great job of giving Walker the one-on-one opportunity down the field, and he really repays him by making a really good contested catch. Slightly underthrown, no doubt, but this really gave Weigman some great confidence to play with because his guys were making plays like that all day for him.
Weigman did not have a passing touchdown in this game. He did not have a rushing touchdown in this game, but yet he put his team in the best position to win the game with some of his passes.
He did, and really it goes back to this, right? We're going to now go to the running game, right? And we have a 3-by-1 formation again. We're going to get a motion here right before the snap, right? This little end around orbit motion. And you're going to see that the Missouri defense really doesn't reset and move over, right? So we get a little out of position quickly here. Texas A&M is going to pull this backside guard and kick out the DN. Tackle, guard, center, all are blocking down on this defensive end while this guard pulls around. And then the tight end follows the guard, and he's the one that's going to pick up this inside backer, sealing it off. And then Le'Veon Moss does the rest by making the safety miss. So it's a beautiful just display of just the precision blocking by the whole group. Guard pulls out. Good job kicking out that defensive end. Now the tight end following through to the backer. Great job getting a hat for a hat. Now Le'Veon Moss one-on-one with the safety and really does a really good job of setting him up. Was patient, running down the field, looking vertically down the middle of the field. He got that safety to kind of overcommit and then cross them up. Really good looking play right there by Texas A&M in the run game. And then here we go again, back to the passing attack. And this is what I thought was just Connor was just feeling at this point in the game, right? It's 31-0, but they're still being aggressive. We're getting a lot of the single safety middle look again here by Missouri. And we're going to run a little whirly bird action, right?
Ooh, I like
that. We're going to go in, we're going to set up like it's a hitch, and then we're going to whirl right back out of it. And we are getting a 3-deep, 4-under look here by Missouri. And it really is just one-on-one again. So set up, great job, eyes back to the quarterback. The quarterback is kind of doing a quick little pump over here to the corner to make him bite. You can already see corner. Look at them. He's on his heels right here. Yep. He's overcommitted. He really does a great job of changing direction, but having to do that 360 spin, it is hard to adjust, right, to a perfectly thrown ball right here on that outside shoulder. So coverage was good reacting to it. Beautiful back shoulder throw away from the defender. Impossible to defend such a well-thrown football like this.
Connor Weigman, it's taken a lot of flack in Aggie land over the last couple of weeks, and even last year when he got injured. It just didn't seem like he was the guy. How big of a game was this for him to just add self-confidence?
It was so big, and it just, I know everyone is so happy for 15 because he, like a lot of the guys on this Texas A&M roster, have really struggled to find any sort of consistency with their coaching staff, right? And now with Elko supporting him in the media like he did,
no doubt.
The performance that he put out there on the field today, I mean, this team, sneaky, a lot of talented dudes. We know how talented they are. Now with Elko at the helm, a lot of good things coming down there for Texas A&M.
Getting better and better every single week. That's the playbook presented by Modelo. Thank you, Maddie. All right, time now for Game Changing Connection presented by AT&T. We're going to look at some of the best from Week 6, and we start in Berkeley, California, guys. Game day was absolutely wild. We have taking off the red tie, putting on the Cal colored tie. We had the flashback to Marshawn Lynch driving the cart. There he is on the cart there with Jeff Sims driving up to the set as he made the picks and the kick for $100K.
I mean, what a day it was for game day. First time coming out there. It was electric atmosphere with the squad. $100K
we got
and $600K to Hurricane Relief. Now, we got our second game-changing connection. Alan says, shout out to my strength coach here for Syracuse because I lift, I do deadlifts, I do calf raises, bicep curls, you name it. This is the overtime game-winning touchdown. that got him into the end zone. Well done.
All right, the Pitt Panthers have got our attention, guys, in the ACC. Here's the Panthers quarterback Eli Holstein with a pass completion to Konata Mumpfield, 43-yard gain. Holstein's got 3+ passing touchdowns in 5 straight games. The Panthers 5-0 for the first time since 1991.
All right, let's head over to Navy versus Air Force. We got a reverse. Check it out. Nathan Kent, incredible play design, by the way, here. Gets it, and he can be your hero like Clark Kent. Gets into the end zone. Navy still undefeated, fellas. Don't you love to just see that?
I can be your hero, baby.
All right, Tulane taking on the Fighting Trent Difflers of UAB. Check out Rayshawn Pleasant. 100-yard kick return to the house. But the catch here, this is not the first time that he has done this either. This was his second kick return touchdown of the season. And oh, by the way, he's also got a pick 6 touchdown return as well. Rayshawn Pleasant.
How about Boston College versus Virginia? Thomas Castellanos. This is what we call doing too much, my boy.
Oh, no.
Virginia picks up the strip sack here, and we're going home. This is like taking candy from a baby here. Well done on the play. That's a game-changing connection, if I may say so. One player forces the fumble, another player picks it up and runs it back.
Those are your game-changing connections presented by AT&T. All right, time now for Can't Take the Heat, built by the Home Depot. All right, guys, so there's been a lot of impact players through the first 6 weeks of the college football season, but there can only be 5 that we are picking here on the College Football Show.
Yes, sir.
Caveat being, we are going non-QBs here, non-QB impact players so far through the first 6 weeks of the college football season. And oh, yes, there are a lot of freshmen on this list, guys. So,
all right,
let's start with number 5.
Okay.
Let's go 5 to 1 here. Got a lot of options. What are we thinking of starting with?
Number 5. I would vote for Ryan Williams.
At number 5.
Ryan Williams.
After what I saw today, I feel like we got to move him up a little higher than 5.
Well, let's start
here. He's on the list.
We'll move him around.
He's got to be on the list.
Okay.
He's got to be on the list.
We'll start.
Top 5 most impactful playmakers, and shout out to the YouTube chat. Chime in as well if you agree with us. But Ryan Williams, one of the top 5 playmakers in the entire country. Today, Alabama relied on him when they needed it. You saw that they relied on him when they needed it in the Georgia game.
Scoop, we know.
Spectacular touchdown, and he is
Who do you want on there, though? We know how good he is.
I'm just feeding into who he was.
30 yards per catch is silly.
Yeah.
Oh, he's ridiculous, dude.
His average yards per touchdown is over 55 yards. That is absolutely ridiculous.
It's just laughable sometimes.
It's like my career
All right,
passing
let's go
high.
number 4 here.
Number 4.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Travis Hunter.
Okay.
Wow. You put him at 4?
Well, you put Ryan Williams at 5.
Might be a little low for Colorado
I'm shocked, though.
You put Williams at 5.
I know, but that's your man.
Yeah.
That's our guy.
We can move it. We can move it. Let's see where we get there.
All right, it's fluid. The list is fluid.
It's fluid.
But what do you love about Travis Hunter? Tell me, because you wanted him up higher.
I mean, I just love the fact that it doesn't matter where you put him on the field, offense or defense, he's going to make an impact. I mean, we see the ball skills, we see the football awareness, the IQ every single week. It's unbelievable what this guy does. And, not only that, but like, it's on the field, it's off the field, what he does for this team. He really is just the epitome of what college football is all about. He does it for the right reasons.
First player in the last 30 years, FBS player in the last 30 years with 10 career receiving touchdowns and also 5 career defensive interceptions.
Amazing.
So, I mean, he's doing stuff, quite frankly, that we actually have just never seen in college football before.
Yeah.
So
all right, Sam, you pick our number 3. Who you got?
Let's go. We can scroll down here because we have a couple other players down here.
Okay.
Well, see, I'm debating between Jeremiah Smith and Trey Harris right now.
Let's throw Smith up there. You okay with that instead of Harris?
I love Harris, but like what Jeremiah Smith is doing, even just like with the one-handed grabs, as a fresh, all that, like.
We saw another one today.
Yeah, I understand he fumbled the ball, but like after that, they're like, you know what, hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna give you the football some more. He really did change, I think, the outcome of this football game too, right, for Iowa. He had the double move for the explosive play that then set up his one-handed catch.
Right.
After that, the game was totally different. It opened up. Ohio State took over from there, and that's what impact players do.
Likely going to break Chris Carter's record of freshman touchdown receptions as well.
What did Chris Carter have? 8?
8.
And he's got 6 already, right?
7 from the line of scrimmage. So, he's going to break.
He's got it.
We've talked about it before. He's going to end up being one of the greatest wide receivers in Ohio State history. That is the type of special player that he is.
All right, let's go 2. What do we got?
At number 2, I am going to say Mullings. However, Michigan isn't necessarily a team that's competing to be in a high spot, so I will submit to the group for that.
Well, take Kalel Mullings out of that team and say that they just have number 7 running the ball.
Okay, that's a good point. All right, if he's not on the football team, I don't know if they're as successful offensively. So
because Edwards has not, to be quite frank, has not been as effective this year as they probably would have hoped.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, shout out our producer,
Go ahead.
Chris.
I mean, I know who 1 is.
All right, number 1's got to be Ashton Jeanty.
No doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Ashton Jeanty is the number 1 most impactful player in college football in the first half. And I said, shout out to our producer, Chris. He texted me this. He has 10 carries, 165 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the first half. This man is next level unstoppable, superhuman, looking like Adrian Peterson in high school. I don't understand the balance that he has, the strength that he has, the quickness. It is unlike anything in the entire country.
No doubt. And we all know what Boise State's going to do offensively, and it's run the damn ball with Ashton Jeanty, and he still gets it done. So can we just
Here's what I would do.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. I think Travis Hunter is the second most impactful player, questionably maybe even number 1. But yeah, I like that a lot. I agree. I like this list
That's
much
a good
better.
list. I just like the flip there of number 4 and 2.
I love Kyle Monangai and what he's doing for Rutgers. He is essentially the heart and soul of that football team to go along with the offensive line. Ja'Cory Brooks is phenomenal, explosive game player.
Big body.
No doubt. Xavier Restrepo is just like, he's just Mr. Utility. He always gets it done for Miami right now. McMillan maybe is probably the highest drafted receiver out of this whole group, of this year too. Like, he is a phenomenal football player. Going to be playing some great football on Sundays. Dylan Sampson, home run hitter. We saw Caleb Johnson too. Even though they're one-dimensional at Iowa, he was still making some big plays today against Ohio State.
Last running back to win the Heisman, Derrick Henry in 2015.
Wow.
Ashton Jeanty.
We're due. We're due for a running back. We got to show some more love to running backs. We got to show a little bit more love to just other positions outside the quarterback.
All right, so we're good with this? We like our list here?
I like this list.
We're good.
do.
This, and you got to love that we got 2 freshmen up there. The game of football is in great hands with Ryan Williams and Jeremiah Smith. So let's tap in with what Jeremiah Smith did today for the Buckeyes as they went against the best defense they've seen all season. And in the second, Will Howard gets stopped and dropped on the 4th down play when they were going for it. It was a little bit of a sloppy game to start off, and then in the second, Jeremiah Smith, he has a mistake here. He fumbles the rock.
Jay Higgins.
Iowa doing what Iowa does, and that's forcing turnovers and not doing much on offense. But as DJ Khaled would say, they force another one. That's another turnover. Iowa picks off Will Howard here, and taking a look at the tail of the first half, it was exactly how you would expect. The Iowa offense not doing much, and then the Ohio offense making plays. So as we move on, guys, what do you think about the way Ohio State responded with Jeremiah Smith coming out in the second half and running a double move for a 53-yard game, and it set up Ohio State for a 1st and goal on the very next play? Check out Jeremiah Smith using that big old hamburger helper glove to make the one-handed grab. This kid's a freshman. 4 catches, 89 yards.
What's he going to do next? Like, we've seen it all. I don't know. How does he stay in college for another 2 years?
There's no doubt there, too. Like, look, he caught the point of the football and tucked it high and tight. Like, in 2 – I mean, it's just ridiculous what he does. And the double move, double coverage, essentially, right? They have Harris playing underneath. I'm not sure who the safety was over the top, right? Harris is one of the better pass defenders in all of college football.
Yeah.
And they did a great job of utilizing a little double move, inside release, gets over the top of the safety. Good throwing ball by Will Howard because it's like, hey, just get it to him. It doesn't even matter. Give this guy an opportunity. But, guy's a game changer, man. It's unbelievable the impact that he makes.
We haven't talked a ton about Ohio State this year.
No,
but
let's do it.
Let's just have a quick conversation about this team because they have a huge couple of games coming up, right? They got to go out to Oregon.
Yes.
And I think we're probably going to learn a little bit more about this team. But obviously at the quarterback spot, right? Kyle McCord gets ushered out of Columbus, and they welcome in Will Howard. And I think the idea was that Will Howard would be a little bit maybe more mobile with his legs as a quarterback.
Yep.
They have that running back room, right, that's been touted as the best running back room in college football. But how do we evaluate Ohio State as a team based on what we have seen so far, Matty?
This was the first. Go ahead, Matt.
No, it's all good. Go ahead.
This is the first game where we got to really see what this Ohio State offense was like against a legit defense, because their schedule to start off the year just didn't really give us a good measuring scale to be able to see that. And it was a slow start, 7-0 in the first half. They were losing the turnover battle 2-0.
Yep.
If you're going against a solid offense that can actually create offensive plays and explosive plays, you're in trouble. Iowa at one point in this game was 4th and 1. It was still 7-0. They decided to go for it and run the fake punt. They got it. But Kirk Ferentz called a timeout right before they snapped the ball. And then what they do when they came back, they punted the ball and gave it to Ohio State.
Very Iowa-ish.
Very Iowa, because then the next play they get a turnover. And that defense stepping up for them. But I say all of that to say this, that Ohio State still has some things to figure out in terms of what they're going to be able to do when things aren't working for them offensively, right? The defense stepped up for them, but what does that really say when you're going against an Iowa offense?
What I love so far about Ohio State, right? And I understand Iowa. Listen, that defense is awesome. I mean, Jay Higgins, 14 total tackles on the day. I mean, but the key really for me, Ohio State overall protected well. The offensive line is run blocking better. We saw Judkins get a little bit more momentum. I would like for them to stay a little bit more patient with him in the run game at times, because I think that there's more explosive plays to be had in the run game. But Travion Henderson, again, they got two great backs that have a physical element to go along with their speed element of what they do. Will Howard, a few QB-designed runs too. And you saw in a few opportunities where they're getting easy one-on-one looks for Emeka Egbuka and Jeremiah Smith because they can run the football effectively and line up in two tight end sets. And I think that really is the future of this football team. It's not going to be like, I know we want them to be like super high powered where they're getting 40 points a game, but they got enough talent to, I think, really make defenses commit to certain things throughout the football game, which will make it easier for their playmakers to have those one-on-one opportunities.
Ohio State's not a team that generally will show up in this man's videos, but we did have Coach 30 join us, who was one of the funniest guys breaking down film in college football. Take a look.
All right, third quarter, right? 31-10. Neighbors know their name at this point. Right, quarterback rolls out like a yoga mat. We got Davis covering the middle read, but his only ability is liability. All right, so he falls on his ass. They throw the touchdown right behind him. All right, ball game. Look at the recruits laughing at us.
It is our pleasure to now welcome in Coach 30. Brendan Clinton, it is such a great honor to have you join the show, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for having me, man.
You crack
I'm
us
excited.
up. You crack us up every week, man. Like, it is so awesome watching your videos. How did this whole thing come about, you doing this?
Well, the whole coach character came about. That was my secondary coach and my defensive coordinator at McDaniel College. He used to rip into us, and when I started making videos, that was just one of the ideas that I had. Just how players are in meetings. And so I did it, and people liked it. I kept it going, and here we are.
It's so funny because Matt and I played ball. I played at a lower level. Matt went professionally, so I'm not even going to compare myself to this guy over here. But anyways, and then no matter what level you're at, when you get that L, you always kind of dread film day.
Yeah, sure.
You know you did something in film, like, damn, coach gonna eat me up for this one. So when you do all these videos and you choose somebody out, do you hear from those players and or coaches about some of the content that you've made?
So the only thing I hear is, sometimes players that are on the winning side, they'll comment on the videos. They'll, I get DMs sometimes, like after games. Some players are like, "Oh, you got to do this game," or "We just beat whatever this team. Make sure you do this game." So it's always positive. And I recently.
So we're going to get back to the interview when we can. We just had a couple technical difficulties there. That's the great thing about doing the great thing about doing live TV. What we're going to do in the meantime is talk a little bit about the ACC and what we have seen so far, because Louisville, you know, a team coming off the loss to Notre Dame last week, want to see how they're going to respond. And you know, we were waiting to see how they were going to bounce back against an SMU team that was really good last year in the AAC, winning 11 games, now coming over to the ACC. So, second quarter, we're going to pick it up here. SMU leading 14-10, 3rd and 2 for SMU. Kevin Jennings, what a day for the SMU quarterback, Matty.
One-man show on the offensive side of the football. I mean, just ridiculous what he was doing in the passing game. Went 13 straight completions to start the football game.
That's insane, bro.
This was a 24-13 game at the half. There's Ja'Cory Brooks there. Taking it down the sideline, and Louisville would be coming back in this one. It was a big deficit. They were playing from behind all day long. And here, once again, you talk about the production from Kevin Jennings as the quarterback, doing it with his legs, calm, cool, collected, takes what the defense gives him, runs it for 6 yards for the first down. A few plays later, 1st and goal for SMU. LJ Johnson crushes into the end zone. SMU leading it 34-27. Later on in the 4th, Tyler Shucht going to be sacked back here. Can't really take a sack in this spot.
No, sir, he can't. And this really was the difference, right? I mean, SMU protected their quarterback well. Jennings was able to get out of trouble. Shuck, 3 sacks, 6 tackles for a loss, and threw the interception as well.
Smoke him if you got him time for Louisville. And desperation intercepted.
Yep.
SMU going to coast on to win this one. Rhett Lashley, man, I don't think he gets enough credit as the head coach. He led the Mustangs to an 11-win season last year. It was their most wins since 1982. And remember how good those teams were in the 80s. They averaged 39 points per game last year. But at the same time, it feels like a letdown for Louisville, because we know what Jeff Brom can do with this offense. They had one of the best defenses in the entire country last year. And to lose these games back-to-back the way that they did, the fashion that they did, having to play from behind today, it again, it's a vibes check, right, Scoob? It just doesn't feel like that same Louisville team that was there last year.
Yeah, and the vibes itself has resulted in self-inflicting wounds, because what we've seen from Louisville the last couple of weeks is the penalties, the turnovers. Those have resulted in them losing the game. So it's disappointing to see, because this is a team that we had a lot of high hopes in Louisville, but the ACC itself, as we see things starting to shape out, it's now just handling itself the way that we probably didn't expect. And SMU has now joined the party, ready to party.
And I think for Louisville, right, Ja'Cory Brooks, phenomenal football player. Isaac Brown, I mean, freshman. This guy's doing some great things for them offensively. Offense isn't the issue. The issue is the defense. And like I said earlier, I mean, Jennings, like, to start the football game off with 13 straight completions, you know, to say that, like, you can carry that on the rest of the football game, you know, is an understatement when you're playing the quarterback position. 13 total explosive plays for the SMU offense today. You know, and 8 in the pass, 5 in the rush. And that's really the big key, I think, for this Louisville team. They just give up way too many big-time plays and big moments. And it's hard for their offense to constantly overcome those, right, and make plays to just keep them in the football game. So for right now, Louisville got to batten down the hatches, as they say, all right, and play better defense, because they have trouble getting after the passer consistently in obvious passing situations, and they really have tough time stopping the run sometimes too. So haven't found that right recipe on defense on how to play yet.
So College Game Day went out to Berkeley, California today. But when we started the season, you start circling some dates and maybe locations as where game day might be. We actually probably thought they were going to be in Tallahassee for the game in Clemson and Florida State. That, of course, not the case. Here's an update on how things have gone down there. Kate Klubnik, a nice touchdown pass. Antonio Williams, 57-yard score for there. And so Klubnik, again, he got beat up a little bit in this game, took some hits. He had a nice touchdown pass to TJ Moore for 23 yards as well. And, you know, it's a comfortable lead for Clemson at the half. I think a lot of people were actually going to assume that Clemson and Florida State would be a little bit closer. Florida State on a backup quarterback, obviously, with Brock Glenn. And here he is right here, Brock Glenn hitting Amari Williams for a 13-yard score. Not a lot for Florida State fans to be cheering about this year. In fact, they're even doing renovations down there at the stadium. But, look, Clemson, again, similar to A&M, we wrote them off after the Georgia loss in week 1. Here they are going on the road and doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. I think the main takeaway from when we watch Clemson is just we're watching Cade Klubnik after all the repetitions and all this hype and like he's the guy, he's the future. It's starting to pay off now. He's starting to play some really good football. He's seeing the field much better. The offense is really well designed around him. You saw the receiver screen there, easy completion for him, but you also saw the rocket over the middle that was 6 feet off the ground, 40 yards down the field. And the other thing that I love about it, what Riley's doing with this offense, is that he's getting him more involved in the running game, which is helping Maffa in the run game too. So overall, their quarterback is finally, reaching that point of growth and maturity and leadership that now they can really lean on him. And it's really just paid huge dividends for the football team.
Spot on, Matt, because what I have here in my notes is Clemson is taking more shots and they have more explosive plays. Last year, they were in the bottom of the league when it comes down to successful play rate with explosive plays. And now this year, they're right up there at the top, and it's opened up things for Phil Maffa completely. He's gone now from just averaging under 4.4 yards per carry last year to now averaging over 8 yards per carry in 2024, which is a result of the defense having to kind of open everything up because, hey, we got to worry about the deep ball. You just saw in the highlight, hey, Cade Klubnik can hit these wide receivers, and those wide receivers are stepping up for him. They're making those plays, and it is huge for their offense.
And what was the other thing that we discussed, too, in the preseason, right, about Clemson? Just too many turnovers last year, right?
Way
Lost
too many.
turnovers. This year, protecting the football that much better, right? So all those things are adding up for Clemson, trending in the right direction.
The ACC is going to be fascinating to watch this entire year, and I think Clemson would probably be the front runner for a lot of folks, but Syracuse going on the road, picking up that massive win against UNLV.
Big win.
By the way, they host Miami to end the season, so things could be shaping out there. And then
that's why ACC is so interesting.
It's so fascinating, right? So, all right, let's make some game picks here. We talked about Berkeley. We talked about game day going out there. Here's an update on how things have gone so far.
Jeez.
None of us are at 500, so I don't know if this is great look for the old college football show, but we're going to turn things around here in week 6.
It's still early.
It's still very, very early. So let's go ahead and pick the game day location game with Cal and Miami. Incredibly interesting. The ball's going to be in the air tonight, right? Cal leads the entire country with 10 interceptions. Cam Ward has had the tendency, unfortunately, of turning the ball over at times. So how does that dynamic play out? I'm going to go with Cal and a massive upset at home. Go Bears!
Oh my God, you frustrate me so much. But this is where I get scared too, though.
Right?
Yeah, I know. But I mean, I got to go with Cam Ward because even when he plays bad football, he still has the capability with that receiving group, right, to still make plays. I think Cam Ward, the passing attack, just too much for the Cal defense to slow down.
It's a good defense.
It is a good defense, but they haven't seen Cam Ward yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I got to go with you in this. I think Cam Ward is just too talented as a passer. The thing about him is he's got to limit those mistakes and limit those turnovers, which he knows. And if he does that in this game, then they don't have to worry about that. I think Miami will be able to come out with the win.
Okay, so 2 Miamis, 1 Cal. So I'll be right in this pick. All right, next one, we go Texas Tech and Arizona. So the Big 12 is going to be fascinating. We're going to have a huge Big 12 conversation next week. I know Scoop's hot on that. I'm going to take Texas Tech in this one. They've been a surprise team this year. They run the ball incredibly well. So I'm going to go with the Red Raiders. Scoop, who you got?
Got to go with that talented wide receiver on that Arizona offense, man. I think they'll just win the game. Not much analysis besides that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we don't know a ton about these two football teams yet as far as just the schedule that they've already played. But, yeah, I'm going to go with McGillen. I'm going to go with the Arizona Wildcats in this one. To me, this is a little bit of a toss-up because I think both teams, struggle to play solid defense at times. But I'm going to go with Arizona.
Should be a fun matchup out there. By the way, what a scene at game day. I didn't know what I was going to be expecting out there at Cal, but they were showing up like at 11:30 at night.
It doesn't matter where they go, man. It's always going to be a party. So, if they're there, people are going to show up.
And Saban is just
he's great,
such a great addition to game day.
I hate
I love
that I
every
like
single
him so
addition.
much.
But
It really bothers me.
By the way, Miss Terry beat him in the picks. He said he can't walk anywhere in town without having somebody talk to him about his picks.
The Coach 30 interview,
That's right, yes. Thank you, Scoop.
we had a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll have the full thing on YouTube, so go and check it out. It is hilarious. He did a little play breakdown with us.
Yeah.
Straight comedy.
Must watch. Go over to the ESPN College Football YouTube channel to check that out. All right, we are out of time here in Week 6. For Matt Sims, Skubie Mageza, our entire crew, I'm Sam Ravech saying so long. Enjoy the games tonight. Go Cal Bears.
See ya.
Peace.
Thank you so much for watching the College Football Show presented by AT&T.